There you go.
Welcome to the party, pal, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are joined by a very, very special guest, returning once again after just astonishing us with her awesomeness on the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, wow. Happened a lot sooner than I thought it would.
Yeah, it was too much. It was too much sauce for the show right now. I think that's what happened.
All right.
Hey, I'm back. The European criminals did not take me out. They thought they did, and that was their mistake.
Now you have a machine gun too.
Ho, ho, ho. So as I was mentioning before, returning from her last review with us when we reviewed the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the lovely and talented Nick from the Black Girls Do Stuff Too podcast.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. So for newcomers to us and you, tell us a little bit about your show.
So it's actually a duo of us. It's Tiffany and I. One time we're going to have to do this with both of us here. So there's two of us. We're cousins, and we always saw movies together, and we always talk about them. And when we went to look for reviews, we never really saw too many people who look like us. So we were like, why don't we just do it ourselves? So we talk about movies and comics and pretty much anything that's pop culture related, and give you a perspective that you don't get too often out there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show, even though I did take a lot of issue with how y'all handled Ratatouille. That's my top 5 favorite Pixar movies.
I gotta tell you, I put everything aside for Ratatouille, but Tiffany, she's not feeling it. She's like a rat in the kitchen, just can't happen. So even if it's a cartoon. Yeah.
I was opening up my store at work and I got my headphones in and I'm biting my lip really hard to the point of it almost bleeding. I'm like, oh, you're lucky I like you. So, yeah, and you actually just released a new episode today, right?
So we're trying to. What's happening is we don't release through a podcast platform. We usually release through our website. This is changing in 2020 because I'm tired of running into these issues, and it won't push it out. So it's on the site on our side, but you can't see it yet. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tomorrow it is then.
Yeah.
And remind me, what is the topic on that one?
So all through December, we're Jolly Black Girls Do Stuff Too. So we're covering holiday movies, and it's not just Christmas; it's anything during the season. So tomorrow is part 1 of our unconventional holiday episodes. Like holiday movies and films that are Christmas or holiday because we said so, and we give you good reasons why they are, but maybe they're not actually. So,
well, I mean, for example, maybe Die Hard.
Potentially. We didn't cover that one, but yes, that would fall in our category for sure.
That's kind of a segue.
It's kind of like Batman Returns is a Christmas movie.
Oh my gosh, it is a Christmas movie. And when people say it's not, I don't understand. It is a Christmas movie.
I hope you weren't pointing at me.
No, I was pointing at the camera, like right.
It's like we were each other.
Yeah, it's this. No, my old writing partner, Steve, hates that movie with the white hot passion of 1,000 Suns. So it's just like you can't really explain. It's like I have my point of view, he has his point of view, and it's just gonna oil and water.
Some people are like, they hold fast to however they feel. I know I have my movies that I feel that way about, but regardless of where that movie falls in my ranking of the Batman films, it's still a Christmas one.
Absolutely. Damn, I'm like feeding back some fierce here. So another thing too, Nick, you are watching all the Star Wars movies for the first time. Is that correct?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to finally watch. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but it was hard to find them all, especially in the order that I wanted to. So first I came to Twitter. I asked for an order. people gave me too many. I got overwhelmed. So I said, I'm just going to watch them 1 through 8 plus the ones in between, and then go and see 9 when it's in the theater. If I like it. If I don't like it, I might not see 9. I'm okay with just walking away and blowing it. Like just blowing it. But I think just based on the fact that I'm watching the ones that people like the least and I like them, I think that I'll probably end up seeing 9.
What are you up to right now?
I'm on 3. So the next one is Solo, and then I'm watching Rogue One after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, really doing chronological order then, and I can talk.
I am. It was just the easiest way for me to know that I'm watching them and I understand the story, because I'm one of those people where I know references to Star Wars, but I don't actually. Until I started watching, I had no clue what Star Wars, like the purpose, what it was about, just that they were in space. So, like, it makes me even more upset that people compare. So I'm a big Trekkie, right? So I hate the fact that people compare them together. Now that I'm watching Star Wars, I'm like, they're so different. It doesn't make sense to compare them at all. So
Right.
One is science fiction, one is science fantasy.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right, so let's get onto the main course here. Yeah. 1988's Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan, starring Bruce Willis, the ever amazing Alan Rickman, Bonnie Bedelia, and a host of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the guy? He was also in Ghostbusters.
William Atherton.
He played that.
Dickless.
Yes.
He played Dickless. Yeah.
The
William
Eternal
Atherton.
Dick.
Yes. That's right. This man has no dick. So, Nick, I'm going to lead off with you. When was the first time you saw Die Hard? And was it at Christmas?
So to be honest, I'm not. So my parents are fairly young, and I used to watch everything with them. For better or for worse, if you guys have listened to our episodes, you know that I don't know what a kids movie is because I grew up watching everything. So,
poor wine, my poor little boy.
So I'm pretty sure I saw this when 1988. I was very young, and so maybe not then, but I was probably like elementary school, maybe when I saw it. So years after it came out, but not at Christmas time. Just like randomly watching it with my dad. So. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. How about you, Mike?
I probably was not during Christmas, and it was probably on TV. Yeah, I didn't go to the movies for a very long time when I was a kid, and certainly I would not have been allowed to go see this one.
Okay.
So it was probably on like channel 56 around here, one of the local channels, and it was probably edited for TV. So I probably did not hear Yippee-ki-yay.
It was just Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah.
Hey, mother freaker.
Okay. So I actually did see this around Christmas time, about a year after it came out. So this movie got released in, I think, July of 1988. Mm-hmm. I saw it because it was on HBO. It was either on HBO or I rented the video cassette. In December of 1989, so around Christmas time. And the only reason why I remember it was because relationship. And I just remember that every violent scene, I was just like getting the fringe benefits of just this girl just like, like every time, like when the guy's kneecaps get blown out, I'm just like, oh, okay, no, I'm here to protect you now. And it was just funny. Just like, here's the Christmas tree in the corner of her living room. And it's like, this is the perfect Christmas movie now.
That's like a great memory.
Yeah, it is. It actually is a really great memory. And one I just came up because I couldn't remember exactly when I had seen it. But I do remember one interesting thing about the movie, which stands out to me now and wouldn't stand out to me like then. You guys are both familiar with widescreen format, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
when you see a movie with the letterbox on there is to give you the full representation of everything on screen. Most movies go to what's called pan and scan to fit like those boxier TVs back in like the 80s, 90s, and early. Lose a lot on sides. What they did with Die Hard and Die Hard 2 on like video cassette.
Oh.
I need
I hope we didn't lose him again.
maybe not. Maybe.
So pan and scan, yeah.
I was like really into this. I love learning like random facts about, especially like the side of movies that I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I worked at Circuit City early in the early 2000s, and I had to educate a lot of people on the difference between pan and scan and widescreen.
really, well,
Yeah.
yeah. I imagine you probably had to because people don't think about that when they're getting a TV. Not really.
Yeah, well, I was more in the movie department. But
Okay. Okay. So like if you would buy one thing versus the other, like is that what it was?
yeah, he dropped it. Okay. Yeah, I would, I'd tell people, if you get the pan scan, it'll fit the full screen, but you'll lose some of your footage. There you are.
Speaking of lost footage, so what it would do is they would compact the thing so everybody's heads looked enormous. That's the point that I was trying to make before I was so rudely interrupted by my terrible internet connection. So
It's okay.
it happens.
Hmm.
So let's dig in on Die Hard. So I said this once, I think it was our second Christmas episode many years ago, that Die Hard is an amazing movie unless you actually describe the plot to somebody who's never heard of Die Hard.
That's so true.
It's an amazing movie, but what's Die Hard about? It's about this cop who's hiding out from these European criminals who take over an office building on Christmas night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's helped by Reginald Vell Johnson.
Exactly. The eternal cop actor. I've never seen Reginald Vell Johnson play anything other than a cop.
That's true. Like talk about typecast, right?
But he plays it really well.
That he was in Ghostbusters as a cop. I just don't get it.
Yep.
But anyway, this is also our first real introduction to Bruce Willis, action hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
before this, he was in Moonlighting.
he was on Moonlighting. He had done a couple of comedies. I remember he did a movie with Kim Basinger called Blind Date. He was in a movie called Sunset with James Garner, but this is like his coming out party as an action star.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, did you ever see Moonlighting? Did you ever watch any of Moonlighting?
No, I don't even have like a reference to what that is.
Oh, okay. It was Bruce Willis's first big break.
Okay.
He was just one of these just Joe Palooka actors that was kicking around, and somebody discovered him, put him up against Sybil Shepherd in this detective agency.
Okay.
And the writing was just so smart and fast and witty that Bruce Willis kind of made a name for himself as just this like smarmy but kind of lovable guy. And that's John McClane. In a nutshell, this is John McClane.
Well, that's John McClane in the first movie.
In the first movie, and even the second movie. I'm sorry, Nick, what were you saying?
Okay, was this like was Die Hard supposed to be like an extension of that, like the movie of him, or no?
It was no, it wasn't. John McClane is created for these movies. No, David Addison was his character on Moonlighting, but Die Hard is the first time that they really were like, what makes Bruce Willis tick? What makes him famous? And it wasn't Blind Date, and it wasn't Sunset. It was this character because he's very fast. You know, he's quick to think about things, but he's not prepared. Mm-hmm. He's terrible, like a Schwarzenegger or a John Rambo, who are like these military black ops experts that could just assess the situation immediately. John McClane is improvising and making it up as he goes along.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is awesome. I mean, it's not Christmas until you're crawling through an air duct, right?
I mean, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know who the studio originally wanted in this role?
Who?
Oh, it would have been such a different movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No way.
Fuck out of here.
Serious? Stop.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Can you
Now I have a machine gun.
Hello, Hans. I can't.
At least go tell him who I really am.
and Schwarzenegger turned the role down because he wanted to kind of flesh out his acting chops by doing a comedy, aka Twins.
Oh no.
Came out Christmas of '88.
Makes
a lot of sense.
right. Same time.
This would have, but if you think about it, Schwarzenegger would have completely ruined the kind of magic of this movie, because the magic of the movie is Bruce Willis is John McClane's is just this everyday cop who is in the wrong place at the wrong time and has to do the best. I mean, when you put Schwarzenegger in there, he's automatically larger than life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you wouldn't believe it as much of him being able to like navigate that situation.
Yeah,
we're used to Schwarzenegger as like somebody who, I don't care if he's prepared, he's gonna win. Like he's gonna win, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad they didn't go that way. Originally, I thought you were going to say, only because when I was watching it, it reminded me a little bit of another movie. I watched it just before this because I hadn't watched it in a while. Mm-hmm. And I thought you were going to say, oh, like Denzel, which would have been different, but it reminded me kind of Denzel's character in Ricochet a little bit. And
a little bit.
I was like a little bit. And I was like, oh, I could see that a little, you know. It'd have been different, of course, but and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe, but I was not expecting Schwarzenegger's name to come out. So
yeah,
actually, I got here a list of some of the other actors that were offered this role before Bruce Willis finally pulled in.
All right, go ahead.
Richard Gere, Clint Eastwood,
nope,
Burt Reynolds,
nope,
Sly Stallone,
nope,
Harrison Ford,
no,
Don Johnson.
Okay, maybe. Don Johnson could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte.
Not for me. No.
Mel Gibson.
I mean, Lethal Weapon-ish. I mean, not the same character, but because of that, I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one more, going for another TV star here, Richard Dean Anderson.
MacGyver.
Oh, no.
Wow.
That would have been
different.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm also thinking about it too, because when you cast your lead, you want to have believable secondaries in there. And I honestly think that if you had put Schwarzenegger in there, Alan Rickman would have never gotten cast.
Right.
Mm.
Because, I mean, you look at Alan Rickman in 1988 as compared to Bruce Willis in 1988. Roughly about the same size, same build. Mm-hmm. And Rickman, even though Rickman never once really got physical in the movie, mm-hmm. he is a very believable threat in the movie.
Yeah, like they have like the same level of kind of like intimidation for each other. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
As you're watching, you're like, okay, I see this villain, I see this hero, that can work. And like if you cast Schwarzenegger, you have to cast like Drago from Rocky.
Yeah.
Or Alexander Goodenough, who played one of the big German lugs, ends up becoming Hans.
Right.
Because he was a big dude. Mm-hmm. Getting back to Rickman though, what a friggin' coming out party.
Yes.
I mean, the guy was legit in his mid 40s, and this was his first Hollywood acting gig.
I didn't know that was his first one. That's his first one?
That is his first Hollywood movie. Yeah.
I know he did like theater and other things like that. I know that. But wow, I didn't know that was his first like Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean he might that, but I'm fairly certain, and I'll look it up now while you guys discuss. I am fairly certain that this is a his first movie. But what a first movie! What a great role!
I've actually got it already up.
Well, aren't you special? I'll put my phone
Yeah,
down.
no, that was his first theatrical role. He'd been done, television. Yeah, he was in Romeo and Juliet for BBC. He was in a bunch of like TV movies and done tons on the stage, but this was his very first film role.
Wow, that's so crazy.
It is.
So what's funny is Alan Rickman. The first thing that I personally know and connect to him from, and the reason why, if he's in anything, well, when he was in anything, I would have watched it, was I'm almost embarrassed to say it because he's such a great actor, but it was Galaxy Quest.
There was nothing wrong with Galaxy.
I love that movie.
At all.
I love Galaxy. And like he kind of pokes fun at himself of being this like classically trained, like great actor who's stuck going to these like conventions playing this character from the TV show. And because I love that movie and I love him so much, I like anything I see that he's in, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch that. Like definitely.
Yeah, he is. I always think of that one. I always think of him in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Because he's easily the best thing in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like Alan Rickman, Morgan Freeman, and then everybody else is kind of in this area down here where you can't see.
Right.
You know what? You don't see him in the role, but I absolutely adored him as Marvin the Robot in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that.
And great. Like,
and the sad thing is, he was never nominated for an Oscar.
Wait, what? Never?
Yeah, never.
This is because the Academy doesn't get it right. Most of the time. They just
honestly, I thought his best shot, realistically speaking, would have been Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. But 91 was a weird year to begin with, so
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just one of those things. I'm sure that like BAFTA came calling, but the Brits what can you say?
Yeah,
so
when it comes to the Academy voting for things, I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are sometimes, when I'm happy about it, I'm happy about it, and then there's like Green Book, and I'm like, I apologize. I apologize. On behalf of me and everybody else, I apologize.
Right. I'm glad you said it out loud.
I have to. Another thing I'm going to say out loud right now, because Nick, I did tell you I wanted to talk extensively about two characters. One is Theo, who is the computer expert on the team of villains.
Yeah.
He is, all right, now I want to point out, this movie takes place in 1988. He is the sole black guy on this team, and he's the only one who survives.
Yeah.
Not only does he not get killed, he's also going to be the one who's essentially going to have to take the rap for all of it.
All of it.
They are just going to lock that dude. There's nobody else to prosecute because they're all dead. That poor bastard. I love Theo. I love that character.
I love Theo too. Like, so here's the funny part about Theo. And anytime I see this is when I watch movies of like crime happening and all this, and there's like the sole black guy, and I'm like, why are you with them? You're gonna get in the most trouble. Like you're either gonna die or you're gonna get in the most trouble. Don't hang out with them. Like go away. And sure enough, I was like, well, there you go. You didn't die, but now you're going to jail for like ever.
Yeah, exactly. Ever and ever and ever. They're gonna give you all.
Oh, wow. That was a sudden drop.
I know, that was abrupt this time.
I mean, another thing about Theo, though, is that he is, I mean, for a black character in an action movie in the late 80s, he is playing against type because he is easily the smartest person on that team of villains.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't often see the black character being the smart guy.
No, you didn't. Unless it was like more of a black movie and that was another character. You just
Yeah.
it was very, very much stereotyped always, right? So,
Right. And
I need Theo here to fix my damn internet connection.
I was just saying that, playing against type for black characters in the late 80s, Theo was also the smartest one on that team.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Nerdy, like super nerdy, not just smart, but like actually very, very nerdy and like a great character that I want to love, but like he made the dumbest thing he did was joining this team of criminals.
Yeah.
So.
Right. They must have been paying him really well, but then again, they had bonds. So, yeah. The other character I want to talk about is Ellis, because this is your stereotype character, the coked out businessman of the 1980s. I mean, when you're introduced to him, it's just like, and this is Ellis, and he's just like, sorry, oh.
Like on camera, I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
If it was Ellis or Scarface before he died. Like I'm not exactly sure who did more coke in their scene. Like I don't know. I can't say.
Hans will be.
Right. And ironically, he's a cokehead, and then later in the movie, he's like drinking coke, and I was just like, they're really pushing this coke narrative for him. I don't know.
You know what the funny thing is too? Is the magic of filmmaking. It's like there are certain times when I watch a movie, and when I see like food or a beverage have that now, Ellis's Coca-Cola, in the movie is. It's like one of those things. It's like I could go for a Coke right now. Mike, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't worry, this is a daily occurrence for me. Yeah,
wow,
down, please.
Man, that cat's butt is like right up in there.
Yeah.
What? You should take control, be aggressive, show people what you want.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
What? No, God, no. Whoa.
Cat, come here. Come on. Get down.
Did you lose a war bike? Pick him up.
All right, I'm good.
All right, great. But yeah, no, Ellis is a weird. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think Ellis was actually trying to buy time to save Bonnie Bedelia's character, whose name I can't remember, Holly? Do you think he was actually doing it to save Holly by throwing him off the scent? Or do you think he was just trying to like save himself?
As much as
they build him out that deep, like for me.
As much as he is a kind of a jerk and he really had no idea what he was getting into, I do think his heart was in the right place. He did seem to want to try and help end this and try to keep people alive.
Yeah, and it was interesting too, because when he's like yelling at John that no, you came here to see me. I really.
Yeah,
just me. So I think that any of the other
one more character.
Yeah,
one more side character I'd like to bring up because I don't think he gets enough love. Argyle.
Yes. Oh my gosh, he's my favorite character in the movie. He's my favorite character in the movie. I just think for the short, I love characters who have not as much screen time throughout the whole movie, but make a good impact, like a memorable impact. And so, like, just like that scene he has, it's almost like, oh my gosh, why is he talking so much, blah, 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 but he's building that rapport. And then they go here and there, whatever, and you're like rooting for him while you're rooting for John too. So, yeah, he's probably my favorite character. Definitely a side character, but probably my favorite character.
And let's be honest, if anyone ever disputes you that Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, this is the first time I ever heard Christmas in Hollis.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a Christmas movie because you were.
It has to be. It has to be. That's on my Christmas playlist.
Such a good Christmas song.
It's gonna be. I mean, there are so many.
I think we might have lost him again.
Oh no, let's send him good vibes. He's gonna come.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
For it to be a movie for me, I'm easy. So like for me, a Christmas movie just has to have Christmas in it, and I'm like, okay, I agree with that. Like it's
It has to take place in or around Christmas.
Have some
and it's a Christmas movie.
And I'm like, yes, okay, I believe it. It's Christmas.
Yep. There's a Christmas party.
Yeah.
There is lots of classic Christmas music. There's a lot of Gene Autry in this movie. And even some of the other, like some of the gags, the thing where he kills Alexander Goodunov's younger brother, the one that was like, he's wearing a Santa hat. Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Who has feet smaller than my sister. So,
it's Christmas.
I get it. Yeah.
It's Christmas.
It's a Christmas movie. And that's one of the cool things I loved about the way that they moved John through his adventure. Everything is done on the fly. He did the one he took that guy's suggestion in the airplane. Take your shoes off and make balls with your feet. Or make fists with your toes, I think was the actual term.
Yeah.
So now he's left barefoot to do all this do-gooding.
Yeah, I mean, for just like a late 80s action movie, this one is actually surprisingly smartly written.
He gets his ass beat a lot more than just like well, all right. I think the best one I can use as an example is the Schwarzenegger movie Commando.
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't sustain much more than like a hairline scratch with any of the minions, and only gets like a slightly deeper cut when he meets the big bad. There are dudes just shooting at him, and he is getting. There is one point I think he does get popped in the arm, just a flesh wound. But his feet getting all cut up with the glass.
Yeah,
oh, when he's pulling out the glass and he's talking to Reginald Vale Johnson. I can't remember his character.
Oh.
Yeah, that I have a hard time watching that. It just makes me.
It's worse for me with the actual dragging his feet and like the bloody trail. The amount of blood he lost, I was like, well, he's done. Like he's done. Yeah. Like this one, he gets beat up quite a bit and then he gets injured somewhat. One of the things about like this one in particular that I can look past all of that, it's just the fact of like a lot of the dialogue that Bruce Willis has in this movie is like with himself. And so I'm like, if he gets hurt too badly, he won't keep us entertained anymore. It has to keep going. Because I noticed that in this most recent watch, how much he communicated with himself to push the story forward. And it just made it like more interesting to me because I love a good monologue moment. So
yeah. And I mean the monologues were fantastic. The fact that he's got by convincing himself, he's kind of convincing the audience of what he's doing. Especially when he's trying to talk himself out of going into the air duct. And then when he's finally in there and he's got that great lines like, come to the coast, we'll have a few laughs.
Right. Right. And that's one thing about Bruce Willis that I loved in this movie because I don't know too much of his early work. And so I know in other movies I've seen him, he's been like, he's an action star, but he's funny. Like he has comedic timing.
Yeah.
So you got to see this in this movie, but not just like against other people, but really, like I said, against himself, which I think is harder to deliver on comedy when you're monologuing, a great
I
job.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that whole line, a dozen terrorists, and I got to kill the one with feet smaller than my sister's. I mean, that is a funny line.
Yeah.
Right.
But that other thing too, where he's like trying to like when Tagashi? When Hans kills Tagashi, and he's like, why didn't you go in there and save him? Because you would be dead too. It's just
actually one of my favorite comedy bits though is Alan Rickman's when like he's making his demands to the FBI, and I want all of the Asian Dawn members released, and he was like, Asian Dawn? I read about them on Newsweek.
Right.
I read about them in Time magazine.
It's just so funny. He like has his comedy too, and it's like a British humor. Even though his name is Hans, which I was like, really, Hans? For this guy? But hey.
He's a very British German guy.
Right.
But and that's the thing, though.
I was just like, okay, we're going.
He's incredibly debonair. He's very, this is why Theo joined him. He's very, very charming.
Yes.
This is why.
He's got charisma up the wazoo.
Yeah. I mean, he really does. I mean, to be honest, like, Alan Rickman probably could have, like, recruited me, and I don't do any crime.
Yeah.
I'm, like, crime-free.
I don't want to do any crimes. I just want to talk around, sit around, watch you, and listen to you talk.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
I'll do that. Do I get a share of the money?
These bonds.
Yeah.
My cut.
Yeah.
It's a really great underrated line in this movie. It's when Agents Johnson and Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
No relation.
This is Agent Johnson. No, the other one. Which always begs me to think, why would anybody on the other line just go with, this is Agent Johnson?
Right.
The black one? Who does that? But when they're both in the helicopter and the other one is he's got the sniper rifle and his hat's backward and he's like, just like Nam, am I right, amigo? The guy's like, that was in junior high, asshole.
That was really good.
Great.
One of the things that gets me about this movie is like, so no matter how much I love a movie, I actually love pointing out things that just crack me up and make me laugh about them. Like, period. Like, and one of the things that I love in these are like how bad of a shot the criminals were. Like, he's like, they're going to hit he was like, they're taking out the lights. But I'm like, the light is huge. So why can't you hit it? Because you shot all the way around it. Like, all the way around it. And like, people are running like clear targets. They're spraying everything, but they hit no people. And I was like, I love this movie. Like, I love things like that. It just makes you like love the movie more because now when you watch movies, criminals are still terrible shots and so are the cops, but it's not as like blatant as it is in the 80s like action movies and early action movies, and I just love that so much. Like,
I think that's actually one of the reasons why this movie is so actually beloved is that it is a great action movie, but it is also really funny, and that nice combination makes it an extraordinarily entertaining movie to watch at any time.
That's true. And I'm trying to think of like another action movie that I love that is like as funny, and the only one I can really think of that makes me laugh as hard is probably Independence Day.
Okay.
Because there's some pretty funny lines in that one. There's one that I literally say anytime I don't end up at a barbecue, and I could have been at a barbecue like every single time, but otherwise I'm like, I can't think of a action movie. I don't watch too many action movies. That's more Tiff's lane. But that are funny. You know what I mean? And this one is like really like laugh out loud funny.
And this one is one of those movies too. I believe it's more unintentionally funny than just trying to be action comedy. Mm-hmm. And the laughs are very organic. There's a lot of great little tweaks that make certain scenes funny. There's that great show. There's this really funny thing with I think the actor's name is Arthur Lang or Lung. He's the terrorist. He's got like the long hair and like cool goatee. And when you hear him talk, he's got like the highest pitched voice of any man I've ever heard. But there's that great thing where he's just like he's shooting, and he looks up, and there's a concession stand right there. So he's just like grabbing like candy bars and like mowing down on him while he's like loading his gun and everything.
Like a French bar. And then he eats another candy bar that I didn't recognize, but it looks pretty good later. So like he actually refers back and eats those candy bars too, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al Young. He's the Asian guy in pretty much all of the late 80s action movies.
I believe he actually tortured Mel Gibson in the first Lethal Weapon movie.
And he was Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's right, he was.
That's so funny. Yeah, there was also the part where like when the terrorists first enter the party and everyone takes the elevator up, you know, like they didn't even like sneak into the party. They just walk into the party and like nobody notices them with their guns out like this. Like everybody's just like, oh, I got champagne, yo. Like it's Christmas. And they're just like, oh yeah, we're here to mess stuff up. Like here we go with our big rifles, and they're just like, oh, okay, you know, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Wow. You guys are good too. That's awesome. I'm going to go bang my secretary in the back right now.
What it is. They probably were just all coke high because they literally don't even like one person is using the elevator and they never even like react. They're just like, oh, okay.
But I mean, even Bonnie Bedelia gets some good lines like like when she's going to Hans and saying, you know, we need to be given bathroom breaks, and he's like, you know, what idiot put you in charge? He's like, you did when you killed my boss.
That's a good one.
And he actually respected that. He's like, oh, okay.
There was one line at the end of the movie that I specifically told myself, don't forget, because I just noticed it this time. And he says something to Hans, but now I can't. It's something Hans. It ends in the name Hans, but it like made me crack up laughing. I was like, dang it. Sayonara? No, he wouldn't have said sayonara. I don't know what he says, but I like literally was like, don't forget it, and I should have wrote it down. And I'm gonna
Well, here's something that's really interesting about this movie too, is that it's well known very early on in this movie that they're just there for the bearer bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Holly is ruining the place, and then it's like you like completely forgot that they were there to rob this place. And it's first of all, his line, you know, after all your talks and all your speeches, you're nothing more than a common thief. I'm actually a quite exceptional thief, thank you. And now I'm adding kidnapping to my charges.
Right. Like there's that. I mean, there's like even though this movie is like beloved, and even by me, which is why I'm here. One of the things that makes me like crack up laughing, but also I think about like in terms of like, I hope they never remake this. Like, let me put this out there. I hope they never remake Die Hard. I never want to see a remake this. But if they ever do, they have to take out the part about the person who was like supposed to know how to take out computers. He just kicked the server. And was like, that works. I'm doing it. I'm leaving now. I'm leaving. Like and the cords, like when he was like trying to rip out all the cords, I'm like, you literally are going to ruin your own plan because you're just like ripping things out of this box. Like, what are you doing?
He's just showing up his little brother. I think that was the whole thing.
Right. I was like, all right, you know, whatever you want to do. If you like it, I love it. Let's go.
And when the safe finally opens, we've got the Hallelujah chorus hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, was there a suit of armor in that safe, or is that just a fever dream that I had once?
No, I think it was a Japanese suit of armor.
Okay. Good.
I'm like, did I miss that part? I don't know. I was probably thinking about all the other things. And I was like, this plan actually, like, nobody should have joined Hans's team because there were so many little things that could have just completely derailed this plan. Yeah. Like, they all would have gotten caught.
Well, the funny thing is too is that everything kind of happens in real time, meaning that they would have been in that building that amount of time no matter what. Even if John never showed up or he was unarmed or somebody managed to kill him. Now, one thing I want to bring up kind of as one of my closing thoughts is when Hans is finally falls out of the building. I think that slow motion shot of his face and then him slowly descending down is one of the best falling from a great height scenes ever.
I agree. I agree with that one. Yeah.
Unlike
put so much in so many different movies, and that definitely stands out like over time, you know.
Oh, but surely the scene from RoboCop is in the top 10, right?
Actually, I was going to bring up the one where Kevin Costner throws Frank Nitti off the 4-story building in
He falls in an angle.
Oh gosh, now I'm gonna be on YouTube all night looking at compilations of people to see what the best ones are. And by best, I mean worst, but that made me laugh the hardest.
But it's just such a great shot, and it's almost like they just, they just here we're throwing you out the window. We have like one of those big like firemen like things for you to land in. Just don't have a heart attack on the way down, please. Right.
And actually, kind of like going back to like the really clever writing. They mentioned like the really cheap watch earlier, and what causes him to fall? He was grabbing onto the really cheap watch.
Yeah.
That's a good point because that missed me this time, and I guess every time because when you were saying it, I was like, oh, so I never paid attention to that. But that's really awesome. They do callbacks though in this movie in general, which I love when things get set up and then they knock them down way later, especially when they just happen in conversation and it's not so obvious. Like, my father keeps his safe back behind this picture. Don't look at it, and you're like, so obviously the safe is going to come into play.
Yeah.
Chekhov's safe, Chekhov's gun, Chekhov's mobile watch.
Exactly, but in this one, it was like so good. It was so good. The callbacks.
Yeah. I do love this movie. What are your thoughts quickly on Die Hard 2, which is essentially it is a Christmas movie.
Honest, I don't remember Die Hard 2. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember it. And as I was watching Die Hard, I even said, like, why do I remember Die Hard so clear, like, as seeing it, but I don't remember Die Hard 2?
I honestly think it's because of Alan Rickman. I really think that the gang of criminals in this movie are more memorable than the gang that William Sadler, the guy who like a year later would play Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. It's true, Mike.
Oh yeah.
He's just not as memorable a villain. I mean, Alan Rickman, I think is the primary reason why I keep coming back to this movie. I mean, this is one of maybe my top 3 Bruce Willis performances ever. Pulp Fiction is definitely probably my favorite of his.
Okay.
Alan Rickman, just at the beginning of an amazing career, and he's so good. And I think that's why I love this movie, and I just kind of merely like 2 and 3, and then I have no business with 4 and 5.
Which one is the one? You're probably going to be like, that's 4 and 5. Which one is the one where it's all about like cyber security? And is that 4?
It's either 4 or 5. Those two kind of blend together. It's like Halloween. It's like the Halloween movies.
And I think the reason why, like, similar to Die Hard, where you had, Bruce Willis teamed with a really excellent villain in Alan Rickman, the reason why I think most people prefer Die Hard 3 as a kind of second favorite is because you had that backup of Samuel L. Jackson and Jeremy Irons as, and those two are really nice, kind of additions to it. over
Right.
William Sadler, which I like William Sadler. He's not my ideal villain.
Yeah,
Well,
and I remember 3.
Yeah, with a Vengeance it's out in the open because it takes place all throughout New York.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which 2 takes place in another confined area. It's in an airport.
Yeah, I don't remember 2 at all. I'm gonna have to watch it.
I think
Seriously,
I think the only time I've seen 2 was I think I saw it on TV like a long time ago after I saw 1, and I've never seen it again.
I saw it on opening night in the movies.
I know you probably would have, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 I remember, and then whenever the cybersecurity one with like his daughter.
I think that would I think it was 4 because 5 he went to Russia to go get his son or
Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I have no clue what these are.
It's either Live Free or Die Hard or A Good Day to Die Hard, I believe was the other one.
Maybe the last one was. Oh, the last one had to be Good Day to Die Hard because Live Free or Die Hard. The whole point was taking down the government because
of
cybersecurity.
Yeah, I see. Like it started with 2. I think they kind of got back to it with 1, but they got it worse in 4 and 5. The whole point of Die Hard is that John McClane is this average cop that with no super abilities. He's just Joe Schmo who is in the wrong place at the wrong time and does what he needs to do to save his family and to take down the bad guys. 2, he started getting into like a super cop area. I think 3, he got back to he's just Joe Schmo again, but he's in a even worse situation. But 4 and 5, he starts doing like these flips with the cars. I'm like, you've completely lost the point. I don't want to see these anymore. Just stop.
Now he's just an action hero.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whether it's in horror series or action series or anything, it's like they're trying so hard to keep getting the money and live off of like the legacy of whatever was good that they just keep putting things out, and it's like these are terrible. Like we hate them now. Stop.
It's why I'm like so annoyed with the rumor that they're going to do a Die Hard Year 1. I'm like, do you really understand your product at all?
Year 1? Oh, I don't even.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go bang my head against this thing. So, any closing thoughts on Die Hard before we wrap up? Before the computer starts like kicking us out again?
Just go watch it if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it for a long time. Go watch it. It's free on Crackle, so if you have Crackle, watch it.
Ooh,
Crackle. Okay, I do always post the a link so you can rent it from YouTube in our end notes.
Mm-hmm.
Here, but yeah, Crackle sounds like a good idea. In fact, if that's an app, I'm downloading it right now. So, so anyway, any closing thoughts on Die Hard before we wrap up?
Great movie all the way around.
I do love this movie. I always love when I have the house to myself at night during Christmas, and my wife comes home and she's like, "What are you watching?" It's Die Hard. It's Christmas. What am I gonna do? It's this or The Ref for me. So I'm not a big Bad Santa guy, but either for my R-rated Christmas movies, it's either Die Hard or it's The Ref.
Okay, that's fair. Those
so, what do you got, Mike? What do you got?
Nah, it's not there.
Don't make me pull out like my long letterbox VHS collection of the first 3 movies.
Oh no! I got Gremlins. Gremlins is my Christmas movie of choice.
There we go.
That's a good one too.
That's a great one. So anyway,
that was actually Nick.
Yep.
What's your Christmas movie of choice?
Edward Scissorhands and Iron Man 3.
I love Edward Scissorhands. In fact, I believe if I am
oh my gosh, that just scared me. I did not see that thing behind you the whole time.
Oh, what? Darth Maul?
And then you stood up and I was like, behind you. I felt like I was on the screen. Like,
and this is what I have.
Gosh, I want him.
Yeah, this thing is like 25. Oh, this thing's collected so much dust. Yeah, it's part of the McFarlane collection.
That's super cool.
Damn it. And there they all go. So I'll have to clean that up later.
Okay.
So,
Focus. There we go.
So, Nick, tell us where we can find you and where we can follow you on the socials.
Yes, so you can follow Black Girls Do Stuff 2 on Instagram at Black Girls Do Stuff 2, YouTube, Black Girls Do Stuff 2. Our website is blackgirlsdostuff2.com, and on Twitter, where we're the most active, we're Black Girls Do Stuff, but the Black is BLK.
Awesome. We'll also post this in our show notes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, you guys actually do have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, we do. It's not as active because I'm trying to figure out exactly the type of content we want to put up there. But so far, it seems like people like the Nick Reacts series, which is me reacting to pretty much anything. A lot of movie trailers and then just other things that we talk about. So this weekend, I'll actually be watching a few movie trailers that dropped this week. Put up new
Awesome.
I am actually a massive fan of reaction videos. So
really,
yes.
Oh, good. So you just get yourself a new subscriber.
In fact, yes, I just did it right now.
Thank you.
I actually am already subscribed to you. So, and not only with like the Geek Salad one, but also with my my lame ass personal account. So,
you're not lame. You can never be lame, baby.
no, I know. I've got such good taste in co-hosts, both of you. So. So anyway, yeah. So Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check us out at geeksalad.podbean.com. We are also very, very active on the Twitters at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook with Geek Salad Podcast.
Well, you more so than I am.
Oh, well, I kind of own the Twitter feed, so
yeah.
Yeah, I don't even have a personal one because I just use that. Everyone just expects it's going to be me. You can check out all of our shows here at YouTube, including our movie reviews, which we do weekly, as well as our audio for our podcast, which can also be got at Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Music, as well as using the Podbean app. I think next week, because it will be an easy edit, and I just have to find like an hour to do it, our episode on Christmas treats will be available.
Hint.
Mike?
Oh,
look what I have.
I can't wait to listen to this episode. You guys know I'm a huge foodie and I love snacks. So,
oh boy.
like,
well, you probably wouldn't love all the snacks that we had.
No, in fact, I brought the eggnog rolls, the Little Debbie eggnog rolls to work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my coworkers was like, "Are those yours?" I'm like, "Yeah, would you like one?" He's like, "Are they good?" And I'm like, "I'm going to leave that up to you to decide." Spoiler alert about the show. I actually refer to Little Debbie as a whore. So I got so sick that night recording this one. This was not a fun show.
Yeah. Well, they weren't
sense.
They weren't all great snacks either.
You just have to
and all be winners, kid.
Trees. Those are like the ones that are tried and true.
We had good trees, and then we had the trees that he just held up. They were not as good.
Yeah, so these are the cinnamon clove and nutmeg Christmas trees.
Oh, they spice ones.
If you're going to eat these, you need a gigantic glass of milk. They are as dry as cardboard.
I'm glad you did it for the people, so we can just listen to you and try what you suggest.
Exactly. The winner were some candy canes. So just be aware of that. Lots of spoilers here, but please still listen to the episode. You still have that thing?
Yeah, it's sugar. It doesn't go bad. You said that yourself.
I did say that myself. Spoiler alert. Stop giving away the episode. It'll be out next week. So, Nick, it has been my absolute pleasure having you back with us. I can't wait we got to figure out another show sometime that's not during a seasonal thing. If you have a movie you want to review with us, just send it my way, and Mike and I we'll watch it. We'll discuss.
Okay. Oh, see, this is good. Now I'm excited because I get to tell you which one.
And then bring Tiff so we can actually finally meet her too. So
actually, I need you guys to tell her right now, don't go to bed at 7 p.m. and stay awake so we can all do this together.
okay, I'm going to address the camera right now. Hey, Mike, can you just put me up on this thing for just 1 second? Thank you. Nope, wrong one. Nope, one more. There we go. Hi, Tiff. This is Andy. We've had a lovely time talking with your cousin Nick tonight about Die Hard. And 7 o'clock p.m. bedtime, you're not a 65-year-old woman. There we go.
That was perfect. Now she can't.
Oh, now she's going to be like, I want to kill that motherfucker. 65 years old.
I love it when I talk to you guys.
Downstairs light in the laundry room.
Okay, that's outside. So Nick, again, love having you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
We really enjoy having you on the show. Please, everybody, listen to Black Girls Do Stuff Too. It is a fantastic podcast. Also, don't forget, we want to know what your thoughts on Die Hard are. Please leave a civil comment below. Don't forget this video a big thumbs up and smash that subscribe button so you get all of our stuff. And until next time, you're off mute, Mike?
Yep.
Until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful and yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.